Welcome back to Fire Emblem Echoes. Today we'll be covering the final of the DLC chapters.
The troops are in position, Sir Slade.
Good. Chancellor Desai needs to learn to finish what he starts. Oh, he managed to put King Lima to the sword, which is well and good. But then he suffers one minor defeat and flees to his fortress? I still can't fathom how 500 knights managed to rout an army of 3,000. But they're knights no more. This deliverance. They're no better than a pack of rebels, and soon-to-be dead ones at that. Let the artless fools cry for justice all they want. All the powerful houses have already pledged their banners to the Chancellor. The kingdom of Zofia is as good as his. And this time, we've brought a siege army thrice as strong. Let's see those rats hold the castle walls against 10,000 men. It's only a matter of time now before their defenses buckle.
Clive! Desai's forces have finished assembling outside the castle. They could storm us at any time.
I see. I'd like to think we have an advantage inside these walls, but... well, against such numbers, words like bleak spring to mind. We'll simply have to focus on holding the castle with minimal casualties.
Well said, my love. The king has fallen. If Desai manages to seize the castle as well, then his control of the kingdom will be all but assured. That is the one thing we cannot allow. But at least the enemy only has so many points of incursion. If we focus our defenses around those, we could thwart two armies.
I do hope so.
What is it?
Nothing. Just thinking how lucky I am to have you. Your confidence gives me strength.
Flattery will get you everywhere. I'll tell the others of the plan.
Thank you.
Clive.
Lucas, were you able to confirm it?
Sadly, it is true. He's actually gone and done it.
Disgusting. I did not want to believe Desai had it in him. All the more reason to put an end to his machinations here. This may be our final chance of holding on to Zofia and building her anew. And if we must sully our
Clive! There you are! I'm trying to figure out which station I am to be posted at, but everyone just... am I interrupting something?
It's all right. We're finished here.
Thank you, Lucas.
Of course. I know what to do.
Clive, what is it? You look pale as a newly washed sheet. Has something happened?
Nothing you need trouble yourself with, dear sister. Come, I'll accompany you to your post.
Clive, look. Is that Fernand? Why in heaven's name is he just standing over there?
Again? Fernand, is everything all right? We must get to our stations before it's too late.
Oh, yes. Of course.
I understand how you feel. The tragedy is still fresh in all our hearts. I cannot force you to fight on the front lines, but...
Enough! I said I'll go! Spare me the special treatment. It's insulting.
Fernand, we'll have none of that kind of talk. Can't you see that Clive is simply worried about you?
How he must be hurting.
Yes, he's changed. He never used to snap at us like that. Now he does it all the time. Say anything to him at all and he either ignores it or misconstrues it.
You can't blame him, Claire.
Nor do I blame him. The man has lost his entire family. It just breaks my heart. It's as if the Fernand we knew died along with them. And I want him back. I feel so powerless.
Well, I'm certain Fernand has noticed. He knows that you care. But time is all that can heal him now. We can give him that, can't we? We've known him since we were children. We have to remember how strong he is, and know he can overcome this trial.
Of course. You're right. I should not have yelled at him so. He didn't deserve it. I shall try harder to give him the space that he needs.
Good, then.
But just so you know, that means I'll be in your hair more often.
When are you not?
Hey, you and I both know I don't bother you all that much. You're lucky you have someone like me to keep you on your toes.
He is lucky indeed. And yet, who do I have left?
Gods, look at those numbers. I've never seen so many soldiers in one place.
And I guess it's true. All the powerful houses have sworn allegiance to Desai's camp. The damn cowards wouldn't even have noble titles without the king. And now they lick the boots of his murderer? Fie on them all!
I know what you're trying to say, but Lima wasn't exactly the best king. He spent his days stuffing his face and womanizing while his people starved. So raise your hand if you weren't at least sort of thinking good riddance. Hell, the nobles were just as happy to see him go as the starving commoners.
Please, don't ever say that in front of Sir Clive. Nothing excuses what they've done. Desai and his sycophants have plunged Zofia into chaos.
You sure about that? Some would say it's the Deliverance what's plunging Zofia into chaos. We're the ones who chose to drag this war out, after all. Common folk don't give a whit which noble cheeks plop down on the throne. They just want to put bread on the table and continue drawing breath. How do you know they don't want us to lay down arms and let things be?
Python!
I'm just putting it out there. We'd be fools not to at least consider it. Be that as it may, they've a disgusting number of soldiers out there. Not even the castle walls will keep us safe forever.
Forsyth, Python, a moment if I may.
Sir Lucas? What's the matter? This isn't your post.
Let's just say I have a problem that's weighing on my mind. And I'm thinking that the two of you might be able to help me with it.
Do go on.
Alright, so here's the mission. We can't let any enemies onto that space, or we lose. We've got 9 turns to hold out. This one's very tough. We got a lot of space, and oh boy, these are some tough enemies. In addition, we've got a pretty good set of units, but they're not perfect. As you can see, instead of having the blessed lance she had before, Mathilda now has dried meat. Which means she can heal, but is also a little less broken than she was in the previous chapter. Alright, so this particular mission, again, definitely the toughest of the DLC chapters for sure. If you're looking for a challenge, here you go. I did manage to clear this on my first try, but we'll see how close it gets. This one, of course, is focused on choke points, so, like, you want to send your best defenders in, and for the time being at least, kind of just leave them in place for a bit, until they start to take a bit of damage, then swap out, maybe swap some food into somebody else's hands.
Cut those rebel scum into tiny rebel pieces.
How much is a rebel piece?
You last against a force this size, Sir Clive. I wager it won't be
In both this franchise and Advance Wars, choke point management, when it works well, is some of my favorite stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It can be really fun to like hold off a massive force with a much smaller force until you either wear them down or build yourself up. But if it's like too easy or too hard, it's very easy for it to just get annoying.
Yeah, I do like certain ones in Fire Emblem. I don't want to call them, like, easy ones. The ones I'm thinking of are less, like, choke point specific and more just general defense missions. Oh, also good job, Mathilda. Just start with a crit, cool. But yeah, just kind of like the Game Boy Advance. Jesus, double crit.
Matilda's pissed.
The Game Boy Advance games were very fond of like near end game defense missions that certainly felt tense when you were playing them. Though I do like being able to just kind of kill the boss. Just make sure I get to the end, kill the boss, why not? And I will say, this one is pretty fun, though also very tense, especially since I don't have a certain feature in this game that would mitigate mistakes a bit better.
The only choke point mission I can think off the top of my head is actually from Advance Wars. The second Kanbei mission in the first game. You have a base, Kanbei does not have a base. You have like 3 units to start with, he has like 30. So the main strategy is to just put heavy units on your bridges, get artillery and rockets around them, and then just keep shuffling your units until you wear down his army. And it's really satisfying when it works well.
Yeah, there was also the one in the BS Fire Emblem chapters, the last one, where you were playing as Camus and you were getting pursued by troops. That one becomes possible when you realize it is a choke point defense mission. Otherwise, it's extremely difficult. And as we also saw back there, this mission is a test on how well you know your various unit types. A mage just attacked us, and thankfully I had Fernand with his spear there to be attacked. And he also managed to dodge, which is good, because of course he's not going to be as good at resistance as he is defense, I don't think. Either way, mage is kind of devastating. And you want to be able to take that guy out. Claire is the best person for the job, provided that archer isn't too close. Because he's got a bow.
So one fun thing that pops up in Fire Emblem more often in Advance Wars is that sometimes you can have a unit that's too strong to do checkpoint defense.
Yeah,
because they kill the units, and then another unit comes by and dies,
defense.
and then another unit comes by and dies, and he's getting attacked way more often than if you had a weaker unit there.
Yep. Now, that being said, if said character just has enough defense, Hector, they can just survive that anyway.
Yeah, you can't just have OP characters.
Then the problem is, they're just stealing experience that could be somebody else's.
One of my favorite things that's cropped up from Fire Emblem analysis in recent years is that stealing experience isn't as bad as everyone's thought it was.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to completely screw yourself over by doing that. Obviously you want a pretty good balance so you can build up as quickly as possible all of your units, but if you have a little bit of EXP waste, that's fine. You don't need to min-max.
I think it was the speedrunning community that found out that Jigen is actually perfectly fine and can carry you through the endgame. After years of treating Jigen like shit, turns out he was perfectly fine the whole time.
All these villagers keep telling me he's old and he's gonna die soon, so I guess I shouldn't use him.
It also just brings into sharp relief the Jigens that we treated well even before knowing that, how broken must they have been? How absurdly OP. It's well known at this point, I think, that Seth can beat Sacred Stones completely on his own. And it wouldn't even be that hard.
I think it's a combination of just the character themselves, or the stats of course are one thing, but also just people's willingness to use those characters. Because Seth is prominent in the story. Oh good god, archers. Seth is prominent in the story. Most people like him as a character, so they're more inclined to use him. Whereas Jigen is an old man in Shadow Dragon, so people aren't going to like the character as much. I mean, they'll probably like him slightly more than, okay, the difference between how much you like Jigen and how much you like I don't know, Cain or Abel, probably isn't really huge in terms of story. But yeah, like, other Jegans are pretty good. Like, Frederick is notable in part because of how useful he is in harder modes, but also, people just like Frederick.
Nobody would have figured out how useful he was if they didn't like him.
Yep. So this is where it gets difficult because of those ranged units and also Slade approaching, so I opted to back off a little bit here and maybe just defend in an area where more of my units could kind of work together at a given time. Unfortunately, this group over here, a little slow-moving, and it's kind of hard to get them to disengage, and I need that archer dead as it is.
I was gonna say, unfortunately, you made that decision halfway through your turn, after you moved the slower units first.
Well, again, they need to be over there. That archer is not good. Claire needs a safe retreat.
Everyone must stand for something.
I guess also, since the group's all together here, might as well mention voice actors here. Oh, yeah, here comes Slade. Defeat the boss is not a condition, so killing Slade early isn't going to get us through and just get us an auto win, but, you know, he's come to us, so it would be a good idea to maybe defeat him. Anyway, though, so, voice actors. I guess we'll start with Clive, since he's kind of the main character of the DLC, being the head knight and all. Clive is voiced by Grant George in this version, the English dub. Also, I am just going to mention the English dub because that's the only one I know. Claire is Alexis Tipton. Fernand is voiced by Ray Chase.
I was gonna say, Alexis Tipton is a name I recognize, but I can't think of any of her roles. I'm certain I've heard the name Ray Chase before too, and Grant George sounds like a pseudonym. It sounds like this was a non-union production.
Mathilda was voiced by Caitlin Glass. Lucas is voiced by Greg Chun, who is probably one of the more standout voices amongst all of in the cast. I know a lot of people like him.
Yeah,
he does have a good voice.
Lucas is an absurdly popular character for what he is.
Mm-hmm.
The proud kingdom you rabble sing of fell long ago. You just failed to notice. Now vacate that throne!
No. Get fucked, Tempest Lance. Anyway, though, onward with the, I guess, lesser knights, question mark? Python is voiced by Doug Erholtz. Forsyth is voiced by Chris Kaysen. And now that he's done talking, Slade is voiced by Christopher Corey Smith.
Now, Doug Erholtz is a name I know off the top of my head. He was older TK in Digimon. Younger TK was Wendy Lee, I think. And more recently, he was Polnareff in Stardust Crusaders. And Golden Wind, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, props to him for being able to do one of the least ridiculous French accents I've heard an English speaker do.
Yeah,
You wretched! Why do you cling to life when every one of you is already dead?
His voice was kind of hard to get used to, but once I did, I think he was one of my favorite voices on Stardust Crusaders. I don't know, I just like Polnareff.
Wow, the things I never thought you'd say.
Also, Jesus, that's two mages, get in the car. So anyway, now right side absolutely has to retreat or they're going to get obliterated by magic. So like I said, this was my first crack at this chapter, so props to me for actually getting this on the first go, because it is really tough. There are just chapters in Fire Emblem where on the first go they are pretty difficult to get through, and then, you know, once you actually kind of know what's going on, they're a little bit easier.
Yeah. I feel like missions with reinforcements get a bad rap among Fire Emblem fans. And I can kind of understand that, but I do think that you can, in most cases, you can, if you have a solid enough like base strategy, it doesn't matter what the reinforcements are.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, if you had Forsyth right next to those mages when they spawn, maybe you'd be in too much trouble. But it would be very hard for you to even get in that position.
Yeah. Also, this is not old-style Fire Emblem where reinforcements move the moment they appear. Like, the old style was basically enemy reinforcements would appear when you'd clicked on, like, end phase or whatever, and therefore they were valid for the next enemy turn. In modern Fire Emblem games, yeah, no, they don't do that. They appear at the end of the enemy turn, so you see them, you can figure out how you're going to deal with them, and they're not just going to ruin your entire day out of nowhere. Fire Emblem Binding Blade.
My turn.
Also, Jesus, Mathilda, it's been your turn. You won't stop critting.
They don't call her Critical Mathilda because she's mean when she, you know, talks about you.
Yeah, then she'd be disparaging Mathilda. I will say, his accuracy isn't the best, but I'm very glad that they gave Fernanda Javelin so he can do ranged attacks.
An interesting thing about, like, just how they do weapons in this game, like, it's a lot harder to just give every spear user a javelin. So, like, once you give it to somebody, you just kind of treat them as your javelin user. In this map, it's enforced because you can't change it, but even during regular gameplay, like, you're going to find the guy that uses the javelin best, and you're not going to take it off of him.
Yeah, probably not, just because you want them with range. But yeah, you only have so many javelins, and also, you might want something else in that inventory slot. Also, Forsyth is just gonna be defending this spot for a hot minute. Clive needs to rest, Jesus. Oh, Archer, you are the worst.
This archer is giving you the hardest time.
Yep, he found a good position, curse him. That archer is doing what we would all do, just standing on the other side of a wall, griefing us.
It's because he's not trained for hand-to-hand combat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because right now, I could send Claire after him, but that's a risk because these two guys are here, and Claire's defense isn't as good as Mathilda's. She might be able to survive out there, but it's not a guarantee, so, like, yeah, I have to weigh this sort of thing.
It's my turn now.
Wait, Lucas, this means you're open to another attack. Oh, nope, that guy was too far away.
The problem now is, oh boy, reinforcements. Why do we even have walls if you guys can appear on this side of it?
That said left 7. Has it only been 2 turns?
No, it's been more than 2 turns.
Okay. So, you had to defend for 9 turns, right?
Yep, so we are almost done.
What is left 7? Oh, that's how many units you have left to move, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, this would have been the longest 2 turns if that was only 2.
That's what I was confused about. Like, there's no fucking way.
And here's where I have to weigh my options.
This is the sort of decision-making you just don't have to make in Advance Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people get pissy about, like, whether Advance Wars or Fire Emblem is better, but the fact is they're just different. They're too different for one to be better than the other, I would say.
Yeah. You can have a preference for them, and I certainly do, because I'm not great at Advance Wars, but, like... It's not a scale of good and bad. But yeah, I would very much prefer that nobody dies. A, because that would not be canonical, and B, that's just not how I roll in Fire Emblem. Now, if Mathilda were just a medium tank, I could leave that to die. I could leave a medium tank to die, it's fine. I can get more of those. I'll just let a bomber run out of fuel. It's okay. It served its purpose.
There aren't very many baseless maps in Advance Wars, especially in the later games. They kind of moved away from that after Advance Wars 1. But there were definitely a couple of maps in the first game, at least, where your best option would be to, you know, set up a choke point like this, maintain all your units' health because you can't replace them. But it's not typical. Normally, like, this sort of defense mission is because you're building things up in your home base and you're waiting to send them out.
Mm-hmm.
You must heal, quickly.
Thanks, game. Hey, game, I would love to do that, but, like, not in a great position to do so.
Alright, now all Claire has to do is tank a few hits and oh no, wait.
And here come the mages. Yeah, mages are fuckers. Unless you're Mathilda, in which case you don't give a shit about that either. This mage was an idiot.
I have a question regarding Intelligent Systems design choices. Why did they just decide that women are less affected by magic?
I'll do what
I don't know.
Why are the women fireproof?
That's just how it is.
I don't think it's misogynist, I just don't understand.
Yeah, it's just, like, the longest holdover of, like, D&D and shit, where, like, they had to spec men and women differently because shrug.
Because Gary Gygax is a piece of shit. Fuck
Yeah,
you, Gygax.
basically. Yeah, just men had to be the ones with the high strength because they're big and strong. So women just got fucking whatever else is left, so dexterity.
Women were fireproof.
Caution.
Yeah, and that's kind of also just true in Fire Emblem because of that. It is a similar mentality.
Okay, Mathilda. If anybody comes, you get them.
It makes sense for, like, Pegasus Knights, because that's the conceit of the class, but yeah, just... Mathilda just winds up with more, HP. Also telling that this mage decided to go after Python, and not Mathilda. Nobody wants to fuck with that. Anyway, this is turn 9, which is good, because, did a good job surviving up till this point. Don't know how I was gonna manage the rest of that if I had to.
Damn these rebel dogs! They should have broken by now! Instead, they've decimated the troops Chancellor Desai entrusted to me. Now where the blasted hell are the rest of the men?
Sir Slade, the reinforcements have arrived.
About bloody time. Now we bury these worms for good and all. I will see them perish with agony and despair writ large upon their faces. The enemy has ceased their attack. We've worn them down, it seems. Well done, everyone. If they're wise, they will withdraw and regroup.
No, Clive. Look!
Reinforcements? Damn. They were revealing their whole hand.
It's worse than that, Clive. Look closer. Look at the banners.
Those are Regalian soldiers. Desai has sold out his own kingdom. Listen close, rebels! Even oafs such as you are clever enough to know what these banners mean. In the name of the Kingdom of Zofia, Chancellor Desai has secured an alliance with the Regalian Empire. Do you understand me now? Shall I spell it out with small words? Regel has formally acknowledged that the Chancellor is Zofia's true ruler. That means there's no one left to legitimize your pathetic little band. Now, relinquish the castle!
That dastard son of a milkless sow! Did Regicide truly not sate his appetite? We should have seen this coming!
Well, Clive, this is a sorry spot. Our soldiers are already weary from battle, while Regel's reinforcements appear to be fresh as daisies, which means our choices are to surrender and be put to the sword, or make our stand and fight against hopeless odds to the last man. Make what decision you will. Either outcome is the same to me.
Fernand, listen to yourself!
No, Claire. It's over. But I swear to you this. Clive, Mathilda, and myself will parley with Slade. We will offer our lives in exchange for your safety. Although you may prefer death to whatever life they give you.
Are you mad? I don't want any of us to die!
Especially not me. I mean, since we're all being honest.
Can't you muster even a little class in your final hour? We are the Deliverance. So long as we still draw breath, we will fight.
It's a waste of breath to fight a battle you can't win. What we really need is an escape plan. Mayhap we start thinking about that?
I agree with Python.
Lucas, not you! I thought you were... Wait, hold on, is this why you asked us to... Oh!
Clive, is it time?
I assumed Desai was still a noble, still a knight. I assumed there was a line even he would not cross. But I see now I was a fool to place trust in such a man.
You're no fool. It is never folly to believe in the underlying goodness of people. Those are the ideals that make Zofia a kingdom worth fighting for. But to preserve those ideals, we must compromise on others.
Do as you must. I would have your answer, rebels! Do not be frightened now. Good Sir Slade is a man of mercy. Grovel on the ground before me, and I may yet spare your lives. Just so long as you are prepared to live out your lives as slaves.
Wait, up there! Sir Slade, something is happening! Look to the ramparts!
Don't interrupt me in the middle of my speech, idiot! I was just getting to... What? No, it can't be. Ugh. Those are the Regalians who were living in the city. But that's impossible. I warned them of the siege myself.
Do you understand now, Slade? Or shall I use small words? The Deliverance has rounded up every last Regalian in Zofia. It seems you told them to escape. A sensible tactic, of course. It wouldn't do to anger a new ally by putting their people in danger. But did you really think we wouldn't notice them scurrying away like rats? A mass exodus of Regalians is rather easy to spot. I do wonder how you managed to get word to them, but it matters little now. Clearly, it would be unwise for the Deliverance to stay here in the castle. So, we shall hand it over to you, just as you asked. However, you and your men are going to grant us safe passage. That is the bargain. If you do not keep this bargain, we will behead every last Regalian in our care. Do you agree to our terms?
Those dastards! I'd say kill them all and let the Regalians hang, but I can't risk Rudolph's ire. Damn that Clive to hell! I thought he had honor. But again, he thwarts me just as I'm about to put him in his place. One day, I will choke the very life from him and all of his followers. I swear it!
Clive? Brother?
Leave him be, Claire. The stone of that castle was half of what held up his pride. Now it's gone. As a knight and leader of the Deliverance, he is wounded. And even I don't know how gravely.
I too am wounded, Lady Mathilda. What if that was the last time we ever walk the castle halls? I can't bear to think that the only way to return there is in memory.
All of us are hurting, Claire. All of us.
At times like this, I feel like such an outsider.
Welcome to Python's world. But forget that. I'm still all a quiver from watching Lucas's performance. He's so down to earth that I keep thinking he's one of us. But pulling a stunt like that takes true knightly courage.
I'll say. Perhaps such a disposition is something one is simply born into.
Uh-oh, did I touch a nerve? Look, I know you want to be a knight, but it ain't gonna happen. You should just make peace with the idea like I have.
I will do no such thing. I know what I'm capable of. I will be a knight, Python. Just you watch.
Mercy, brave Sir Forsyth, mercy! I shouldn't have said anything. Besides, even without a king to anoint you and a castle to serve in, you already have a magnificent knightly future ahead of you.
Well, yes, I'm glad you... Gods, I hate you sometimes.
Explain yourself, Lucas.
Forgive me, Fernand, but I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Don't play daft. Why didn't you tell me about the Regalians sneaking out of the city? Do you fancy yourself Clive's new confidant now?
No. I simply surmised that the plan was more likely to succeed if few knew of it. This is why I didn't tell Mathilda, and you don't see her shouting about it.
Have you no shame? Taking hostages like some barbarian. You've dragged the Deliverance's name through the mud with your actions. Is that what they teach bumpkin boys in lieu of honor? Ha! You're a disgrace.
I thought we were fighting for something greater than appearances. And while I understand your concerns, and perhaps even share them, I would kindly ask you control your emotions and look at the bigger...
Still your tongue or I'll tear it free!
Clive sanctioned these measures. Do you question him? Now excuse me, Fernand. I have a report to make. We should begin by seeking refuge in the shrine to the southwest. The hideout our expeditionary teams use should still be well supplied. Clive, are you listening?
Yes, of course. Apologies, Lucas. Once again, my burdens have become yours to bear.
And I take them up gladly. Just promise that your melancholy will vanish with the dawn. On the morrow, we must begin devising a strategy to retake the castle.
Lucas.
Yes?
I feel as though I am only just now truly getting to know you. To be blunt, I assumed you joined the Deliverance on your brother's orders. That you were forced to enlist.
You have the right of it. This is not the path I chose. But I have no home to return to, so I intend to see where the path leads. Do not mistake me for a man who needs pity. If I die along a road I never chose, then so be it. I will still die with pride and not regret. I have sworn you my lands, and it will not waver.
I know, Lucas.
There is righteousness in your heart, Clive, a strain of it that I lack. I believe this righteousness is the light that will save Zofia. There are many who believe what I believe, and we look to you now. So when you have finished mourning your past, leave it behind.
I shall try. Thank you, Lucas. I will be all right. But But
What is it?
you said light. It reminded me of the hero in the prophecy.
What, that old children's tale?
The very same. When darkness envelops the world, a hero shall come to smite all evil. Where is that hero now, I wonder?
I see your point. The world has never been darker. What do you imagine our hero is doing at this very moment?
Sleeping, if he's wiser than us. But until he appears, we shall just have to keep crawling through the mud, fighting however many mindless battles it takes to prevail. Come, let us press on to the shrine and determine our next move.
Lead the way, my friend.
Alright, so in addition to items, we also unlock a Clive Forsyth and Clive Python support conversation, or support conversations.
And when did we unlock the supports with Fernand? You haven't mentioned any of those yet.